Give me all the specs, sir. New image sensor, blah, blah, Hypersmooth 5.0. I mean, that's nice. I don't think I ever used Hypersmooth much. I did use the GoPro to vlog where was I when I used it? One of the when I went on a trip into the interior. I used it to vlog and it was nice. I think at the time it was Hypersmooth 2 and that was still good. The 8:7 aspect ratio, I'm curious to see how that works, so I'm gonna watch some videos about that in a second. Live streaming in 1080, webcam mode. So a lot of these features are very much the same as the original, but obviously better chip, better battery, better everything better. Aww. 3.5 millimeter audio mic input with media mod only, which means that's another $110. That's another $90 add-on, just so you can plug in your mic. I'm curious to see about. I'm very curious about the 8:7 aspect ratio, because do they still need the what's that lens? The max lens, the max mod, which is basically a massively wide angle lens that you put on a GoPro that does the whole horizon leveling and all that stuff. What about the DJI Action 3? The hyper view mode is basically okay, so you don't need the max mod anymore. Let's see, DJI Action 3 Horizon Steady, which is their version of probably max mod kind of thing. 4K 120. Oh. This is only this one can also do 4K 120. Okay. The only thing too though, the one thing about the Hero 9 and onwards that I liked is the fact that these fingers are already built into the camera. You don't have to run a secondary case for whatever, because the Hero 5, I think it was my Hero 5 had that, where the case itself had the little fingers that you have to screw into things. It being built into the camera is pretty darn convenient for sure. What's the sensor size of the other one? Of course, they don't say anything about it. Let's see. Oh, perfect. Hero 11 versus Action 3. This is Potato Jet. Let me kill the music. That intro shot though, why?
Than I thought it was. But design-wise, there's not much different here. It's
holding
the
a pot.
shape and size, and everything's very familiar. It will work with the media mod. The lens still comes off the same way and all that, so that's great if you've invested in some accessories. DJI looks like it adopted a very similar form factor. Lens here, screen here, battery door flips out like that, big screen on the back. I do love that they carried this over though, so this just magnetically attaches to the bottom right there, so it's a quick attach. And you do want to just make sure that it's securely on there, because sometimes you'll magnetically attach it and it's not fully on there, so it could fly off. Now I really want to focus
That's very sketchy. Why is it magnetic?
I'll do a bunch of footage we shot with these cameras here in Bali, and before I tell you guys which camera is which, see which camera you guys like better.
I'm seeing the colors are a little more saturated.
Hold up. I want to see the color difference here. I want to take a guess as well.
These cameras here in Bali, and before I tell you guys which camera is which, see which camera you guys.
Default color and wide stabilized.
Like better.
I'm seeing the color.
I'm thinking, oh wow. This one's more, the dynamic range here is a lot weaker. I'm thinking GoPro, DJI. I think. What's everybody else think? This one definitely looks a lot warmer. Yeah, I think GoPro kind of does that, and the GoPro's image processing probably makes the whole dynamic range different. Because you can tell how the shirt colors, the shirt, the floor, and the greens are pretty prevalent, and also obviously the yellowness up here. But that could also be a white balance setting. But the dynamic range for sure is better here. You can actually see the horizon and the lines in the sky. This one's completely washed out. I'm probably gonna say DJI is on the one on the right.
In better detail, left. Think dynamic range wise, it's better.
I like the one on the left.
Everybody's liking the left.
Dynamic range on the sky. The stabilization's a little bit smoother on the left than the one on the right.
Yeah, I just like the colors on the left so much better.
Right looks a little,
The focus is the one on the right missed focus.
maybe a little softer than the left. In that
The one on the right missed
The
focusing.
right is probably more true.
Oh, the noise on the right is so jacked up.
Right. You definitely see the noise on the right.
It's brighter, but it's also noisier.
Yeah.
The grains are way too obvious.
Like by a mile. Colors look better on the right as well.
Stabilization looks to be worse on the left.
Could not see that screen at all on the right.
In low,
The dynamic range for sure. Like you can still see like the exposure for one. This one feels a lot brighter, and that's probably why it's very grainy. But at the same time, you lost a lot of the sky.
I'd still go right.
Wait, the flat colors give it away. This is GoPro Pro Tune. I hope I'm right. This is probably DJI's like Cinelike or whatever.
Amazing images. Like it's just picking between two good options.
All right, so you guys ready for this big reveal?
Oh, shit.
The camera on the left was the GoPro.
I knew it.
It generally had better dynamic range, especially up there.
I knew it. If you've seen, because I have both cameras, right? I've seen footage from I've cut together footage from a DJI camera. I've got the drone. I've got the Pocket, and I've got the GoPros. I've been using GoPros for a very long time, and you can tell how much like the dynamic range for GoPro is definitely a lot better, and you also can tell the exposure is also a lot better. The only reason why the DJI won up against the only part in this bit that I thought that the DJI won was the fact that the camera exposed pretty well for complete darkness, like the nighttime scene, to try to get all the light back. Just because obviously if you're filming something like that, it's going to be very noisy, and they expected that, but you also don't want to lose so much exposure. The color saturation is so much better on the standard profile, and obviously on the flat that's a different story because you're supposed to color grade the flat anyway. So I think he made the right decision going, because he pre-ordered and bought the Hero 11. I think he made the right decision. Like low light performance aside, everything else seems a little weak on the DJI side. The fact that the 10-bit color out of the box means, that's very minimal, like especially if you're not really color grading.